I'm Justin Perkins, and this is Talk Junkie. Karma isn't real. Karma's not an actual thing. Like, it doesn't really exist. Don't get me wrong, I believe if you put out certain energy around the right people, that energy may be able to be reciprocated. Sometimes it's consciously, sometimes it's subconsciously. But the idea that by doing the right thing, and let's simplify it as much as we can, by doing good deeds or doing the right thing, good things will happen to you, and that it's reciprocal or circular in some way, that it'll come back to you because you put it out there. There's the belief that that's real. It's not. I mean, I know really good people that horrible things happen to. I don't believe in good luck or bad luck either. It's all chance. It's all what happens. The issue is, I had this conversation years and years ago with a young guy I was working with. I was probably 25, 26 at the time. I'm much older than that now. He was, my guess would be 18, 19. I mean, he's fresh out of high school, straight to first job. And he says, you know, karma's the only thing that makes me a good person. Now, he had, on numerous occasions, given examples of him doing horrible, horrible things that I would never confuse with a good person doing. Let me preface it with that. But I said, if you don't mind, would you elaborate on how that is? And he said, well, you know, I don't want to be a bad person and have it come back on me tenfold and be a bad person. And I said, well, you know, a lot of these big businesses, these monster organizations, are run by guys that are considered ruthless. And these guys, we see these guys don't do anything for any reason other than to make money. And they profit. But a lot of those guys aren't happy, he said, or something to that effect. It's been a long time. But basically, he said that those people, the money didn't make those people happy. And when I said it, that's a completely different issue. It could be that they're bad people, and that's why they're not happy. It could also be why they do bad things to other people. But as far as we're talking about the standard definition of being lucky, or the standard definition of ill-gotten gains, quite often they reap those, and very seldomly are they punished for any of the horrible things they do. Yeah, but you don't understand how karma works. And I said, no, I don't understand how karma works. I don't recognize karma as being a real thing. He said, well, if it wasn't for karma, people wouldn't do the right thing. People wouldn't do the good thing. I say that if karma is the only reason you're doing something, if the thought of getting something back is the only reason you do something good, then you're not really doing anything good. It's a reflex of fear. It's not an action of good. It's a reflex of fear. I don't particularly believe in karma, because I believe that there's only one reason to do good things and to be a good person. It's because you're a good person and you want to do good things and you want to be a good person. If you're doing it for the recognition and the praise, if you're doing it for the way it makes you feel, maybe you're still only 50% there. But if you do it because it's simply the right thing to do, I believe most people are good. And I believe most people do the best they can, and I believe they do it not because of an entitlement, not because of a sense of requirement, but because it's innately in them. to do good and to be good. I really believe that. And I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people feel like people are all bad. I used to feel that way to some degree, that people were all bad. But there's a lot of reason for that. One, if someone does this small, simple act of kindness, for some reason, I don't think naturally, I think due to our environment and our culture, have become conditioned to maybe even appreciate that small act of kindness, but often, not a fault of our own, or not because we're bad people, but often to overlook those small acts of kindness. When something happens to us that is good, something that we desired to happen, something that is very positive for us, we often overlook it in the sense that we just say, well, that's what should have happened. I deserved that. That's what should have happened. It was deserved, so it should have happened. On the contrary, when something negative happens, when something bad happens, our reactions are quite different. We'll blow a small negative out of proportion, but we won't often overemphasize a small good, a small positive. We ourselves put a greater value on that negative. And that mindset, I believe, is often the catalyst and the driver for the desire of karma. If I'm going to do right and I'm going to do good, damn it, you owe me at least the ability to assume that good's going to happen back to me. I cannot do it without reward. It's selfishness. Karma is an act of selfishness. Do unto others as you'd have done unto you. Most of us would fail at that miserably. But often, even when we do it, the intent in which we're doing it, that we're approaching it from, is a negative one. Let me be a little better to them. Let me be a little nicer to them. Let me change the way in which I'm doing things with them because I want them. I want them to do better for me, to do more for me. Often we notice that doing unto others, whether it be a positive, especially when it's a positive. Let's look at the positive first. When we positively do unto others, is it subconsciously? Well, I mean, yes, often many of us subconsciously do good things. I mean, that comes back to me believing that people are, for all intents and purposes, good. That people are kind. But a lot of times when we consciously make a decision to do unto others, to do good, we have to put work and effort into it. But on the same hand, quite often, when we do negative things, negative reactions, negative things, we do unto others in a negative manner, but we do so subconsciously. And that's not to say that one drive is stronger than the other in all people. It's just to say that when we're doing good consciously, I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to say. Almost all good deeds that are truly good and truly of the heart, they may be planned and thought out, but they're organic. They happen naturally. Whereas a good deed that's forced and pushed, it's just an action. A lot of times it's just a hopeful stab at a return, at karma. And what value does it have? Well, I mean, it's still a good deed, isn't it? I mean, it obviously has that value, but from where did it come from? Did you do it with the intent of a gain? Well, that's not to say you shouldn't sit down and plan out good deeds, to plan out good actions. Of course you should. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Again, a lot of these things are just things that go through my head, and maybe I don't phrase them the best. Maybe I don't elaborate on them in the clearest of ways. Maybe my explanations are blurred at times. But I don't feel that karma has any basis in reality. I guess that's dependent on how you define karma. Say someone that dedicates themselves to helping the hungry, helping the homeless, helping the forgotten. They'll work at that their whole lives. They're in a low-income job because they've not put time into their career. They put time into college. They don't have a family, a wife, husband, children. They have their miserable job that they hate, a tiny home that's nothing. If they even have a home. Maybe they're renting some one-bedroom rat hole in the corner of some town, and every free minute they have is spent helping others. And doing it genuinely because they love it. And when they die, someone goes, look at all the good deeds they did throughout the entirety of their life, yet karma never gave them anything. It never gave them a bigger house. It never gave them an automobile and money and education, anything. Well, first, no one says that that's what karma would do if karma was real. But if that is what karma did, then karma would be a completely different thing than what we consider karma. But who is to say that those things are what this person truly sought in life? I mean, what if their work, their ability to help others, all these things, those things were the reward. Those things gave them value and meaning in life. Well, in that sense, all their giving brought them something. That is not necessarily because of karma. It's because of what they were seeking. See, they were seeking to do good, and doing good was the reward. Let's look at it this way. You've got a person that traveled their whole life, seen the world. They were never greedy, they were never mean, they were never cruel. They were never rich, but they were afforded the opportunity to travel. They had to live hard, had to work hard. The ability to do the exact thing they've always wanted to do, to travel, see the world, all these things. Despite the hard work, despite all these things, they got to do it, and they died completely satisfied of that. But they did no amazingly great deeds or anything of that nature, but they done no harm. But they really done no good. Not in the global sense of the word good, as we put a philanthropy type definition to it, whatever you want to look at it as. They didn't do good, they just existed. But they pursued their happiness, and they died happy. And what is the difference in dying happy from that than dying happy from helping someone? It's the pursuit of your own happiness. Karma played no effect, played no role in either existence. But let's say, for whatever reason, you become a millionaire. And you were a good person up to the point you became a millionaire. I mean, a really good person. You'd give the shirt off your back. A really good person who's done really good things. You become a millionaire. You continue to do good things. Your life continues to get better. and you continue to better other people's lives. Is that karma? Or is that simply coincidence? Maybe your life's getting better because you're doing better things. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the money. Or maybe your life's getting better just because your life's getting better. I know people who do amazing things, who are good people, or great people. And amazing good things don't always happen to them. In fact, some of those people are in a position socially and economically, physically and mentally, emotionally, that is not a good place. Yet their resolve is like steel. They continue to do good. And I feel they continue to do good not with the thought of the reward that will come from being good, but because they innately feel that being good is the right thing to do. Karma isn't real. Being a good person is real. It does not mean good things will happen to you. It seems like often it's quite the contrary. But it seems that way because we often put an emphasis on the negative. Enjoy being appreciative. My situation could always be worse. But no matter how good my situation is or how bad my situation is, nothing can make my situation bad quicker, or nothing can make my situation worse than me mentally. I have this ability to control how I feel. Obviously, we all do. What I'm saying is we as people can trigger that more quickly than anything. The way I combat that, and that's not always worked. I've been very down in the past, very depressed. This is not me saying, hey, just do this and you'll be okay, because I understand this is hard, and I understand not everybody can do it, and that's okay. It is hard for some people. We expect everybody to be the same and react the same, and that's not how reality is. That's not how life really works. But what's helped me is always going, it could be worse. And when it feels like, now you're just saying that to yourself, thinking of how it can be worse. And when I see people who have it worse than me, going, that's the point it could get to. Be appreciative of what I have and see if there's some way I can help them. When something happens that you don't like, stop and find any positive in that you can and amplify that positive. Negatives may outnumber positives, but positives often outweigh negatives. And once you get shifted into that mindset, quite often you start to see that the negatives aren't really outweighing the positives. You're just putting a higher value on the negatives. You're giving them more attention. So I don't think karma is real. Be good because you want to be good. Do right because you want to do right. Do right not because it's a law or it's expected, but because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to be good to people, to treat people fairly, to help people when you can. It's important. And I fail at this every day. I failed at it today. I'm going to tell you this story. I got a phone call today. I look up and I see the number. And I had put in for some jobs in northern Kentucky. I thought, just by a glance, that the number was from there. I picked up the number. Said, hey, go get so-and-so up. Tell him I need him to take me to the Suboxone clinic. I said, excuse me? Who is this? I said, this is Justin. Okay, go tell so-and-so to get up. I don't remember the name. I need them to take me to the Suboxone clinic. I said, don't know who you're talking about. They said, it's Justin Sloan, isn't it? I said, no, it's not. Well, so-and-so gave me this number and said this. I said, well, this is Justin. But, no, I'm at work. I can't come get you and take you to the Suboxone clinic. And I hung up. Now, I did nothing wrong in the exchange. I wasn't mean to the person or anything of that nature. I'm being somewhat misleading, I guess. There was a part of that conversation I left out. When I said I didn't know so-and-so, they said, well, do you know someone else? And they gave me another name. I said, I don't know anyone that isn't at work. I said, I can't take you to the Suboxone clinic. I hang up the phone. I'm mad at this person when I hang up the phone. I'm mad. For a split second, I'm mad. And I have to sit there and think for a second, why am I mad? Well, because this person is not working, on drugs, blowing their day, calling me, sucking on society. No, that's not really why I'm mad. Why am I really mad? Because I used to do drugs and I liked it. I didn't get to the point that these other people were. I could look at my life and go, well, there was a point in time when I done drugs and that's bad and I'm a bad person. Or I could look at it positively and go, there was a point in time when I done drugs. I got lucky. I didn't get hooked. And I can be appreciative instead of mad and say, I'm fortunate that that wasn't me. I didn't not get hooked on drugs because I'm a better person than this girl. I did not get hooked on drugs because I'm smarter than this girl. I did not get hooked on drugs for any other reason that you can think of. I did not get hooked on drugs like this girl because for whatever reason, it didn't happen to me. The gene wasn't there. The opportunity wasn't there. I didn't use the exact right amount of times. I don't know what it is, but it easily could have been me instead of her. I mean, if we're being fair, it could have easily been me instead of her. So why am I mad at her? Because maybe I wanted to be able to do it. I don't know. Did I want to get hooked? No, I didn't want to get hooked. But there's that selfishness in people. Even when someone else is doing something that's so detrimental to them, something that we would not take on, a burden that we wouldn't take for anything in this world, just the fact that we can't do it makes us selfish sometimes. So maybe that's why I'm mad. Maybe I'm mad because I'd been off work for almost a month prior to this. Very little doing anything. And I loved it. These people that say I couldn't retire, I couldn't. If you give me enough money to live on and let me retire, I will go see the world. I will go do anything. Working in a job, loving it or not, just a regular job like I work, it's a slave trap and I hate it. My mind's not made for it. I want to read, I want to explore, I want to talk, I want to discuss, I want to record my podcast, and I want to get out and be with friends, and I want to travel and see things. That's life to me. So maybe I'm mad because she's not having to have this existence I've got to have. She doesn't have to come out and work every day. She doesn't have to be responsible like I have to be responsible. She doesn't have the same burdens that I have. Of course, she has the burden of addiction, which I don't have. Of course, she has the burden of feeling all these things that I can't imagine. I mean, I don't truly know what any of her burdens, if any, are. But I can assure you if she has real burdens, like some of my burdens, I have some real burdens, but all of my real burdens and her burdens, if she has any real burdens, far, 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 those burdens far outweigh my burden of having to come to work at a pretty good job, at a pretty good pay scale. It's pretty good people. Her burden of addiction outweighs my burden of being able to feed my family, of being with my children every night, of having a good marriage. Her burden of addiction outweighs those by far. Am I mad because society conditioned me to be mad? I used to be one of those people that conditioned people to be mad. Be mad at a drug user. Be mad at a junkie. Be mad at a pill monkey. Be mad at them. Hate them. They're choosing to have no life. They're choosing to do this. They're choosing to do that. And on some levels they are choosing. Some people do choose. But not everybody chooses. Not every kid had the perfect life, and I know I've said it myself a million times. Well, you know what? My life wasn't perfect. I didn't get to go out and just get on drugs. Yeah, I know. That's that self. That's putting yourself above others. I've done it. You don't do it out of a mean place most times. A lot of times it's something about yourself you don't like. It's an insecurity you have that you don't like. And that's why we attack anything. That's why we look down on anyone. It's an insecurity in ourselves that we don't like. People are weird. I should have been compassionate to that girl. And 9 times out of 10 I would have been. But for some reason today I was mad. I wasn't mad for long, but I was mad for a second. Does that mean that bad things are due to come my way? Does that mean karma is going to swoop in and take out the 3 steps forward I've made and make me go 4 back? No. This means I made a mistake as a person. And that's okay. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to do those often. I'm going to get on here and I'm going to record podcasts that I disagree with 2 minutes later, 2 days later, 2 years later, 10 years later, a lifetime later. My mind's going to change. Thoughts are going to... That's growth, and if we don't have that growth, you're not really accomplishing much in life. I'm going to be good to everybody I can be good to. When I can be good to them. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. But at every opportunity, I'm going to try to fix those things. Try to better myself by being better to other people. And I'm going to do it. Not because I think I'm going to get anything in return. Because it just doesn't work that way. I'm going to do it because it's right. I'm going to do it because it's what I want to do. Because it's who I want to be and it's how I want to be. Karma isn't real. Kindness is. Love is. Respect is. Appreciation is. Acknowledgement is real. I acknowledge that your problems are not mine and that I cannot imagine honestly being you for whatever issue you're having to live through. Karma is something people made up to try to make the bad people be good. It's like the commandments and most religion all together. A certain part of the people have to be scared or forced into being good. I'm not afraid, so that won't work. And I don't conform very well, so force doesn't work. I just got to be good because I want to be good, and that's when people are good for the right reasons, and that's when kindness becomes the norm with a person. It's when it's truly what they want to be. So karma isn't real. Sorry. You can become an asshole now if you want to, I guess. You can become a bad person now if you want to. I don't know. I guess I have to censor this one. Do I have to mark this one as bad words because I've said 2 naughty words, I believe. You can be whatever you want to be. I mean, it is what it is. No matter what you be, no matter what you are, life isn't going to give you anything magically in return. It just isn't. Thanks everybody that does listen. The email is authorjperk@gmail.com. I know I've not answered stuff, and I know I started out doing that, and I've not come back on here. I know there's not a ton of you that listen, but I truly appreciate the ones that do. Please share it. I'd like to get it out there. Again, I know there's not a ton of you that listen, but I don't know, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell somebody you think would hate it. I don't know. Tell somebody. But thanks to everybody, and have a great day.